Today I'm going to be covering server commands and non-player characters, which are very powerful ways that you can help control your Minecraft world. So I thought I'd cover the server commands first because they let you do lots of different things within your Minecraft world. So I've opened up just a random Minecraft world on creative mode so I don't die or get attacked by monsters. And if you have a look around, you can see it's raining. I'll just fly up and show you. I've got a sort of a grasslands and a forest and a snowy area over there. So it's a little bit dreary for me and I want to make it stop raining, and you can actually use server commands to control the weather. So to open up the server commands, you need to press T and it brings up the chat bar. And if I just type in some text like hello and press enter, everyone in the world will be able to see that I've said hello. But I don't want to just talk to everyone. I actually want to control the server. So to do that, you need to put a / before anything else. So you'll notice that once I push the /, it's giving me all these different options of things that I can do. And if I start typing now for the weather, I'm going to type in weather. So if I start typing in weather, you'll see it slowly whittles down to the thing it thinks you're typing. So I'm going to type in weather. Now to change the weather, I type in weather and then a space, and this is important. And now it's showing me the options that I can do to change the weather. I can make it clear. If I type in clear, I can query or find out what the weather is, although that's pretty obvious. I can make it rain or I can make it thunder. So I'm going to make it clear. So I'm going to type in clear and just press enter. Now I can also, it's telling me here, if I wanted to, I could also set it for a set duration in seconds. So maybe I want it to be clear for a minute or 60 seconds before raining again. But I'm just going to change it to clear weather, and it'll take a few seconds and it has stopped raining. So you can see if I fly up around the world, it's stopped raining in this patch of the world. It's currently daytime. We can also change the time in the game world. So time runs a little quicker than in here in Minecraft than in real life. But we can mess with and set the time in the Minecraft world. So the same thing again, I'm going to push T /, and to change time, we type in time. And here it says we can query what the time is, we can set the time, or we can add a certain number of hours. So I want to set the time, and now I need to tell it when I want to set it to. So you can see my options here at day, midnight, night, noon, sunrise or sunset. So let's have a look at a Minecraft sunset. I don't even know where. Oh, there's the sun. And you can see the sun slowly going down there. If I want to speed things up again because I'm impatient, time, set, night. So there we go. We are now at nighttime. Now in survival mode, nighttime is when all the monsters come out and things get a little bit dangerous. So night and day does matter if you are in survival mode. Luckily, we're in creative, so it's not such a big deal. So we've changed the weather, we've changed the time. From within the game, you can actually change also between survival and creative mode. So if we open up our command again, T /, and this one is, let me find it, game mode. And I can set it to creative, adventure, or survival. So I can change it to survival like so. And in survival mode, oh, you can see I lost a bit of health because I fell to the floor. You're not allowed to fly in survival mode. And because it's nighttime, we might even see some monsters starting to appear. And I will be in trouble because I don't have any weapons. So you can do that from within your game as well. I am going to just quickly turn it back because I don't want to die. So you don't have to go back out to the menu where you set up the world to change all these settings. Now, another thing you can do that is very useful is teleport. Now you can see I brought in, I don't have any other players in my world, so I did bring in my little coding agent, which we'll go over in a future week about how to code your agent. But let's say let's go move over here just so I can show you. And my agent is over there somewhere. If I bring up the server command, oops, / first, and start typing in teleport, you can see there's lots of server commands. I'm just going through some useful ones. Now I can teleport the agent to me, or I can teleport myself to the agent. So sometimes I often had students getting stuck or lost, so I would teleport them to me. So let's try that. So I'm going to teleport. Now I want my agent, and you can see on the menu on the left there it's saying @C. So if I type in the @ symbol, C will give me my agent, and I want to bring my agent to myself, which is I can either type in my name or @S. So it's usually 2 or 3 different ways to type in the commands to do the same things. So there we go, my agent teleported to my position. Now you'll notice that I've got my one of the options you can turn on in the menus is to display your position. So you can see my XYZ coordinates on the left there, and my agent's XYZ coordinates. Only I can see those. And if a student turns that option on, they'll only be able to see their coordinates, but it can help you find each other. It's also a good maths lesson about XYZ and coordinates and mapping. Some other ones that are very useful is particularly if you're in a survival mode game, or a game where you're not in creative mode and students don't have access to equipment, is you can give them equipment using the command give. And agents can actually hold objects as well. So I can give @C my agent, and if I know the name of the object, I can start typing that in. Sorry, my dog's making noises. Let's say I want to give my agent some glass to help build a house or something like that. I can type in glass. Oops, no, I can't give my agent glass. It has to be another player. But I can, as a teacher, I can give other players in the world items. Students can also trade and give items to each other. So if you are near each other in the world, you can just drop it on the floor. For example, I can just drop it on the floor like this. And that way the object's on the floor, and if a player is near me, they can come and pick that up. But if they're not near me, I can use the give command. One other command that's probably one of the most important ones is called World Builder. So if I open the chat with T /, now for World Builder, it's just WB is the shortcut. This toggles, so I've set the World Builder status update to true. That means I'm like the owner of the world, and I have permission to destroy and create things within this Minecraft world. But if I try changing it again to false, now let's see if I can just, oh no, I can still destroy things, but I'm no longer acting as like the owner of the world. And you can fiddle with the settings so that if World Builder is false, people can't destroy or change things within the world. So usually the person who owns or set up the server or is hosting it is World Builder automatically, and students coming in, you can classify them as visitors, so their World Builder status will be false, so they can't destroy things. So that's how you can fiddle with that. So I'm going to turn my World Builder back on. And so if you don't have World Builder permission, actually I'll turn it back off. Sorry, this is confusing. Let's see if I can still change the weather. If under, oh yeah, there we go. I can still change the weather. There you go. So I need to fiddle with a few more settings in order to stop, if I was a student, to stop that from happening. So let's just change the weather back to clear. Another setting that you as a teacher might be interested in is the kick function. So unfortunately, I don't have any other players in here to kick, but if you kick and then type in their name, you can kick a player out of your server, so they will be removed. So it's a good behavior management tool if there's a reason that you need to remove someone from your server. For example, once I was teaching a lesson in Minecraft, and a student from the class next door who wasn't supposed to be in there with us had joined in. So instead of having 15 students in the world, I had 16, and we were trying to figure out who that mysterious 16th student was, and it was someone next door, and they were being a bit naughty and off task during their class, so we had to kick them out of the server and stop them from coming in. So you can't, at the moment, it's a bit tricky to stop people from coming in altogether, but you can kick them out once they're in if they're not supposed to be there, and then address the issue in the classroom. Are there any questions so far about commands? There are lots of commands, but hopefully they're some of the more useful ones. All good.
No questions from here.
Okay. Otherwise, I will show you. Hopefully, you can see this here. Hopefully, you can see the website. It's a bunch of. This website has all of the commands in the game, so it tells you what the command is. Like if I go to the weather commands, it tells you whether it's available or works in Education Edition. And if I click on edu here, it tells you what to type into your text box to use that command, and it gives you a tutorial or an example of how to do that and what it does. So if you're ever confused about what some of the commands do, this website digminecraft.com has a really good summary of all of the commands. Like I said, there's so many. Some of them there's a handful that don't work in Education Edition, but most of the basic ones do. And yeah, so you can start controlling the server and doing some interesting things. So the other thing I wanted to show you was non-player characters. So this is unique to Education Edition. You can't set up your own non-player characters in the regular Minecraft, so it's just special for Education Edition. So in order to get some non-player characters, so that you'll notice there's like a randomly generated village here, and maybe I want to populate it with people. What I need to do is access my menu. You need to be in creative mode, and we're going to search for NPC, and you'll see this sparkly rainbow egg called spawn NPC. So I'm going to put that in my inventory, get out of the menu with E, and if I use the egg with a right click, I will spawn a non-player character. So this character isn't controlled by anyone, it's just run by the game's AI. Well, not even really AI, just by the game's code. What you can actually do with your non-player character is you can customize them. So if I left click, I can destroy. Oh, let's get another one. If I right click it, I can edit it. So we can change its name. Let's change its name to Stephen. No relation. You can change how it looks. Like that. I think that's a good teacher look. And if you go to, we can also edit what the character says when a player comes to say hello or comes nearby. So we can say, hello. And under advanced settings, which we'll get into perhaps at a later date, you can actually have non-player characters carry out commands. Now, commands are similar to what we were just doing, so you can have set up non-player characters to gift items, perhaps when they clicked, or to change the weather when they clicked, or change the time of day, or that sort of thing. Or we can also add a link, like let's say you have the non-player character as a guide, perhaps, and it says something like, oh, do you want to learn more about carbon and how it's used in chemistry? Click here to learn more. And so you can put in a URL and the kids can click that link to get through to a specific website. Or it could even be a URL to a page on your OneNote or something like that. So you can add that link into the dialogue that the NPC says. Oh, we've got two there. So if I just go up to them and press, if I turn my world builder status off, hopefully I can interact with them normally. There we go. So that's what your student would see. The student would see the NPC's name, what they look like, and what you've set up in the dialogue box. So NPCs are really good to set up for to be quest givers, perhaps to start the students off on an activity, so that you don't have to be, especially if they're running through the activity at their own pace. So you can have a quest giver at each step, perhaps telling students what to do next, and then you don't have to be telling the whole class a million times what that next step was. If you want, I was thinking if you wanted to do a project around HAS or English, where you wanted to, let's say we wanted to populate the town with characters from a book we'd been reading or a particular historical period, you could also look at doing that. So if we customize our NPCs, let's customize the other one over here. There is a lot of different costumes that you can have your NPCs wearing, and you could even set it up so that the kids are creating the dialogue and the kids are creating the NPCs, if that's how you wanted to go about it. So yeah, that's non-player characters and commands, and they're a little creepy. They like look at you and they don't move, but they follow you around. I think the other good thing about non-player characters is that in the game they're invincible, so the kids can't kill them or move them or mess around with them, and unless they have the world builder status. Oh look, there's another one over there. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, so in the regular game you will get some randomly generated non-player characters, but they won't talk to you. They just sort of go about they have like a daily pattern that they follow, but they generally won't talk to you or really do anything. But yeah, so there's some great worlds on the library, on the Minecraft Education Library online, that use non-player characters really, really well in their setup. And their names will be a different color to the color that an actual player's name is. So that's sort of how you tell them apart. A lot of worlds that I've seen use them well. Usually when you first log into the world, there'll be one, like a big sign or a non-player character not far out of your line of sight to welcome you to the world and tell you perhaps where to go next. Yeah, so that's all I had for this week. Homework is to create a non-player character, name it, dress it up, and perhaps give it some dialogue. And that's it. Yeah. I will stop sharing my screen. There we go. Did anyone have any questions about commands or non-player characters?
No questions here. I'm going to stop recording.
Okay, great.